Hey guys, I'm Mike Turner here with ADJ, filming a video for you here out of good old Texas. We wanted to do something a little bit different with this video. We've done tons of videos at ADJ, in black rooms with a bunch of haze and no ambient light. I wanted to take this one step further and talk about some of the real differences in the Focus Spot 5Z and then go over a little bit of the features in detail and what they mean to you, what they mean to your customers, what applications that they pertain to, and what situation this light's going to perform well in. I'm going to go over some pretty in-depth details, but I'm also just going to kind of keep it short and sweet so that you understand why this fixture is worth being something that goes on almost every job that comes across your desk. Again, this is Mike Turner from Austin, Texas. Here we go. All right, everyone, thanks for sticking around and taking the time to watch this video. So what the whole purpose of this video is to do is we've all seen the product videos from ADJ and other brands as well, where they're in a solid dark room with heavy fog, and it's hard to tell how bright something is or really kind of go over the features and really the applications that they apply to and how they can be used. So Chase and I wanted to do this video for you guys, specifically to show you what about this fixture makes it so special at its price point, and why it's something that you should be including in almost every job that comes along your way. So I'm gonna jump right into the light. So first of all, what we're seeing right now, the Focus Spot 5Z has a 200 watt cool white LED. So 200 watts of LED is pretty bright. To give you an idea, that is brighter than a 350 watt MSD lamp, but not quite as bright as a 575. So output on this fixture is insane. We're very, very proud of that. The other thing that we did on this fixture that makes it awesome for schools, black box theaters, or smaller houses of worship where the ceilings may not be so high is that the only downfall any engineer has when they're designing a really high-powered LED fixture and putting it in a very compact housing such as we did on the Focus Spot 5Z is you don't have enough room to put larger fans that move more air in a quieter way. What happens is in order to keep the fixture and the driver cool for the LED driver, what we did is we gave you the ability to control the fan speed. So right now I have it at full on, and I don't know if you can hear it in the background. It's not too loud, but if I were in a completely silent situation with no ambient sounds, it might be noticeable. But with this feature, I can actually cut the fan noise completely down to a third of what the normal volume would be. And the loss on that is only about a 10% drop in output. Another feature that you can adjust through DMX is the LED refresh rate. Now, none of our feature videos have gone into detail about why this is important, so I'm going to take a quick second just to explain that. So what has happened is it used to be somewhere between 400 Hertz and 1200 Hertz of the LED operating would be considered flicker-free. And it is for most applications. But what has happened is the technology in cameras, even in our mobile devices, or any DSLR camera that we're using, the technology has evolved so fast now that we're moving into 4K and other formats that 400 Hertz to 1200 Hertz may not be flicker free anymore because your camera is operating at such a high velocity, not high velocity, but essentially it's operating in such a way it still might capture a flicker. So we've given you the ability, again, to control this via onboard controls or through DMX to adjust this up to 25,000 Hertz, which in all of our testing, we weren't able to find a camera that would capture flicker when we went to the highest refresh rate. And finally, for those really techie guys who are trying to tune this light for a broadcast situation, we do give you the ability to adjust the gamma for up to ±2. You're seeing it right now, the 200 watts of LED at full output. This could easily throw 30 to 40 feet, no problem at all. I mean, this thing is just a powerhouse. The other thing that we did is we included an 11 to 22 degree motorized zoom. So just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I'm gonna zoom all the way out. So you do get some increase in your output here, which is actually quite nice. You'll notice it's pretty fast if that's something that you need. But the other important part is, as we know with zooming, the further away that you're projecting, the more exaggerated the zoom looks. So what's nice about this, if you're throwing 25 to 30 feet, this could go from highlighting something as simple as the pulpit to zooming all the way out and highlighting maybe an entire section of the choir. So that's something that can be very, very useful. The other thing that we did to make this fixture a little bit more friendly and more versatile, I'm not going to call this a hybrid, but there's a lot of hybrid-esque features built in here. So one of the things we did with the 5Z that's different from the 4Z is we included 2 different frost filters. So this first frost filter I'm going to show you is called the light frost. Well, what it's actually used for is primarily in a lot of theatrical applications where they're using a very slow rotation on the Gobos, some sort of breakup, just to create some ambient texture to whatever it is that they're illuminating. Some people try to do this with stars, some people try to do this with breakups to simulate clouds. So by using this light frost, you're allowed to kind of blur the lines, if you will, on what you're projecting to get just a little bit of a softer edge that's not as disruptive on stage. Now, again, taking that one step further, we have a lot of people that are using these lights exclusively to cover pretty much every need that they have on stage. So that means that they don't always want a hard edge. Sometimes they need something with a very soft edge. So we included a heavy frost as well. You'll notice that there's no defined hard edge on here at all. It smooths out all the way. Now, currently I'm zoomed in all the way, but if I were to go to zoom all the way out, you would cover an even larger area. So again, just another feature that we packed into this to make this light much, much more versatile. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is what we did with regards to the color wheel. So again, something that's different from the 4Z that we did with the 5Z is we gave you 2 color wheels. So you've got 2 color wheels, they each have 8 colors on there. The first color wheel is going to be all your fun colors, your blues, your greens, your magentas, all the colors that you would expect out of a fixture. The second color wheel includes a CTB, a CTO, which you're seeing now. It also includes some secondary colors, different shades of yellow and green and magenta. And then we also included a UV filter on there as well. So I'm gonna go back to the CTO here. So again, as I mentioned, when we're asking a lot more out of our fixtures these days, a lot more of just a spot or a Gobo projector. We need zooming, we need to be able to throw on a frost, but by popular request, we actually added a CTO on there that's pretty much somewhere between 3200 and 3600 Kelvin, so that you could actually project onto faces and get a little bit better color rendering with regards to what you're filming on stage, so you don't really get that pasty white. So again, I'll just go back to the normal unfiltered light here. You'll notice it's kind of that, that somewhat bluish cool white. And then when I go to the CTO, you'll notice a much more natural white. So that's included on this fixture as well. When you include the frost filter with this, this can act as a key light or just general illumination of faces on stage. So you can really kind of cover both wheels. This is the standard color wheel. So again, we've got 8 colors on here, including white. You'll see all the necessary colors on here. One of the things that I'm really proud of on this is we've got a much deeper blue than a lot of other fixtures use. In my opinion, they just kind of go the cheap route when it comes to the different blue that they put in there. And it's kind of a Smurf blue in my opinion. But on this particular wheel, we went with a very deep blue that maintains the way it's supposed to look both on camera and in person. So I'm quite proud of that. I think you'll appreciate it as well. As I mentioned earlier, it does have a secondary color wheel. So if you notice, we have some different shades of magenta. You just saw the CTO and the UV. We have a much brighter yellow, a Kelly green, a lot more color filters on here as well. Now I can tell you, you can engage these both at the same time. So for instance, if your job calls for more of a school bus yellow and the yellow that you're using is a little too limey or a little too banana, I guess you'd say, you can add the CTB or the CTO on there to get a different shade of yellow. The same can be done for the blues and greens as well. So I'm not going to call this a color mixing unit, but you do have the ability to use both filters at the same time. And if you know what you're doing with subtractive color mixing, you can achieve a third, if you will, color palette that you can use with this. The next section that I'm going to go over with you is the Gobo wheel. You do have 6 rotating Gobos on here. They are replaceable. Now, one of the things that we did with this fixture, again, different from the 4Z, is we decided to include a different Gobo package on here with Gobos that are a little less clubby, a little less fun, if you will, and a little bit more aerial breakups and a little bit more professional style gobos, because we thought that this fixture would blend well to smaller theaters, schools, and churches. So although this might find its way into a nightclub, we tried to put a gobo package in here that doesn't necessarily look too clubby. So the gobo you're seeing here is kind of a traditional, just a circle or a dot breakup. A lot of people will use this not necessarily for what it projects onto the wall, but mainly because each one of those little circles will give you an aerial beam, if you will, that looks awesome when you're rotating it slow, just like this. I'll go to the second gobo. Again, kind of a kaleidoscope type breakup, if you will. Again, it looks great on the walls using that light frost filter. The third gobo here, to me, kind of reminds me a little bit more of a zebra or like a textured brick type look. It looks awesome when you use a color split between the yellow and the orange, and you can kind of create kind of a fire look. Again, just a better breakup. This is a gobo that was not found on the Focus Spot 4Z. Going to my fourth gobo, again, just a nice line breakup that can look great when you line it up on a wall and you're doing some sort of projection where you're just trying to texturize the walls. This can be very useful for that. The fifth gobo, pretty traditional. As many people as we talk to in both the house of worship market and the theatrical market, this star breakup, although it can seem kind of cheesy at times, they still like to use it. It gives you wonderful breakup for aerial effects if that's what you're using it for. But again, you can zoom out and project from further distance and really kind of create a starry night effect if that's what you wanted to do. Now, before I jump into the next set of features, I do want to remind you guys that everything that rotates on this fixture is indexable. So just to recap, what that means is you can define at what level it's rotating and the fixture will remember that. So the gobo rotation, the prism rotation, everything is indexable, so you can embed those values into your cues and know that it will, obviously when you hit your cue, it will be in the way that you projected it, which is very important if you're doing custom gobos that might have text or anything on there. So the next feature I forgot to go into there's more gobos. This one here is a nice glass gobo. It's a 4-color glass gobo, which is fantastic. This will create a very beautiful aerial effect, or if this is going into a youth room at a church, this is very colorful and bright, and it just gives you something that a lot of your audience hasn't seen before. But where this really comes into play is when you actually add in other colors from the color wheel that will change the way that this gobo looks. So again, when you add in a color filter in there, it will subtract some of the 4 colors on the gobos and only allow certain colors to come through and change the way it looks. So as you're seeing on this cue, you're just seeing what it looks like with a couple different color filters on there that can give you a nice little palette that makes sense, that looks wonderful. So that's it for the gobo wheel. We also packed in 2 different types of prisms on here. This is the circular prism. Again, this will rotate in either direction and is indexable. And again, when you zoom that out, you're projecting from further away, this can cover a very large area. And what I appreciate about this is a lot of times when you're using a prism, you're sacrificing whether or not it's focused on the outside and blurry on the inside and vice versa. But I feel like with the shorter optical path that we had on this fixture, we did a great job of making sure that we were able to meet in the middle on the focus and not sacrifice too much there. We also have the linear prism as well. So again, you see that everything's focusable. I'm rotating this very slow just to kind of show that, that's something we hear a lot. We hear from a lot of event planners that just want just a little bit of animation, nothing too disruptive, maybe during a speech to keep it looking interesting. So again, you'll notice as we rotate, it's not notchy or jittery or anything like that as well. And that's pretty much it for the Focus Spot 5Z, guys. We packed a lot in here. This is a fixture that has enough horsepower to go on a medium to a larger stage, believe it or not. I feel that it's very compact and it's a low power draw. It just really appeals to all the markets. This is Mike Turner with ADJ. Feel free to reach out to me directly, or if you can, just go to our new website, adj.com, for more information, photometric data, download the owner's manual, get literally all the information that you need, including third-party IES files. Thanks again, guys. Have a fantastic day.